It's a message that we all need to understand about keeping things in perspective, about never giving up, never throwing in the towel, that success and personal greatness and achievement in our lives is a personal choice.
Michael Altshuler is one of today's most dynamic and passionate inspirational speakers and professional sales trainers. From the trenches, Michael will arm your sales team with the street-proven strategies, techniques, and tools they need to outsmart, outgun, and outmaneuver the competition.
Exactly what we wanted. Dynamic, energetic, hit all the points on sales that we had asked for, and really, really made it feel like he was part of the AirTouch paging team. I can't say enough about how enthused I am about the speech, and I've just gotten through it, and I'm ready to go out and get them.
Applying the same competitive edge strategies he teaches, Michael was one of only 22 men selected from over 10,000 nationwide to earn a spot on the nationally televised show American Gladiators.
Director, I can tell you that one of the most important decisions you make is the selection of a quality speaker. And Michael Altshuler is that. He has the uncanny ability to make everyone feel as if he's speaking to them directly. He touches people deeply. He inspires them to take action on what matters most to them in their life.
Leading corporations, associations, and institutions find Michael to be the consummate professional and all-out team player, always willing to go the extra mile for his clients, understanding his clients' needs and delivering customized programs that always hit the mark. Well, that's Michael Altshuler's trademark.
He had a dynamic impact on our function, that's for sure. And the people that participated were able to come out of that with a fresh, new perspective that enabled them to go out and meet the challenges of today in the sales arena.
You can't speak to a sales group without a great closing story. This is my favorite closing story of all time. This guy who I saw exemplified closers. He was the best, it was the best closing exhibition I have ever seen. And I have to share it with you. It's about me picking up my son from school, and he says to me in the car, he says, "Daddy," he says, "will you take me to the store to look at some Beanie Babies?" I think the key word there was look. Kids don't look. They buy. But it's a come on. It's like, will you just look at this pager? You're not interested in them just looking. You want them to buy. And my son is savvy enough. He was 6 years old at the time. It was November of last year to do this. So finally he convinces me, I don't know how kids do this, he convinces me to take him to the store just to look at these Beanie Babies. We walk into the store and we walk right past the $6 and $7 beanies. I say, "Kyle, where are you going?" He makes a beeline right to the front counter. Behind the counter in a glass enclosure are 3 Beanie Babies. I know these are not the $6 and $7 Beanie Babies. And so does he. He says, "Excuse me, ma'am, may I see that Beanie Baby?" I'm like totally out of control of this situation. He says, "May I see that Beanie Baby?" She says, "Sure." She brings it down. He says, "What's this Beanie Baby's name?" And I forget what it was, and she tells him. He says, "Well, how much?" It's like, I'm really out of this. I'm like sitting there, okay. Like, how much is this Beanie Baby? She said, $60. He looks up at me, and without batting an eye, I know I have to act quickly. I have to say, "No way, that's way," you have to be really absolute. "No way, absolutely not, that's way too much, you're not getting it." The shark was ready to attack. Close number 1. My son looks up at me with his adoring eyes and he says, "Daddy, if you love me, if you love me, will you buy me that Beanie Baby?" This is not in your closing books, but we call this the guilt close. It didn't work. I looked at him without batting an eye and I said, "Kyle, no, I do love you, but I'm not buying you that Beanie Baby." He doesn't hesitate. Close number 2, right there. He says, "Daddy," as he wraps his arms around my leg, he looks up and smiles at me. He says, "Daddy, I love you so much." will you please buy me the Beanie Baby? I call this the tug at the heartstrings close. And I recommend this to you and your customers, all perhaps except the part about hugging them around the legs. I think it's very effective. We're human beings and we're emotional. You tell them you love them. I think that will move you. And we know people buy from emotion, not logic. So I think that might work. Remember, forget the hugging around the leg part. And I looked at him and I said, Kyle, I really love you, son, but I'm not buying the Beanie Baby. And that was close number 2, and I thought, pretty impressive. And then, as I go to pull him out of the store, in the middle of the store, he starts stomping his feet, crying hysterically. He says, Daddy, buy me the Beanie Baby, buy me the Beanie Baby, and he's making a scene. I call this the make the scene close. He says, buy me the, and I'm embarrassed, and he figured to stop the embarrassment because of making a scene, I'll buy it. And I said, Kyle, I'm not buying you that Beanie Baby, and stop crying. He stops immediately, realizing that close is ineffective. That was close number 3. I figured, boy, that's impressive, but it gets better. As we're walking towards the door, he stops and says, Daddy, that's the last Beanie Baby. It's retired. If they sell that, there won't be any more. He was using the fear of lost clothes on me, 6 years old. And here he's using the fear of lost clothes. This is the last Beanie Baby. How does this kid know this? I said, Kyle, I'm not buying you that Beanie Baby, whether it's the last one or not. $60 is too much. I grab him and I take him outside, and as we're leaving, he breaks away from my hand and he plasters himself against the wall. And I said, what am I up for here? So he's plastered against the wall. It was a riot. He plasters himself against the wall and says, Daddy, I am not budging an inch until you buy me the Beanie Baby. It took me 15 years to learn this physical action close, and he is applying it on me. Did I have to physically remove him from the property in order to prevent the sale from happening? That was page 302 of the expert closing book. How the heck did he know this? So that was close number 5. At this point, I am impressed. And we always say in sales that someone always wins. Either they win on telling you why they're not buying, or you win on telling them why they should. He was starting to win a little bit. So I pick him up. I have to physically remove him to prevent the sale from happening. I pick him up and I start carrying him. And right when I get to the curb, he makes his last and final close. He looks at me. This is in November of 1997. Excuse me, 1998. He looks at me and he says, Daddy, he said, my birthday is next month. He said, my birthday is next month, Daddy, and the best birthday present you could ever buy me in my whole life is that Beanie Baby, and it's the last one, and if it's gone, I'll never get the best birthday present. So he was like merging all these closes together. He says, so Daddy, and I promise if you buy it, I won't want anything else for my birthday. So won't you buy me that last Beanie Baby, please, for the best birthday present of my life that I'll ever get, and I promise I won't ask for anything else. Won't you do that, please, Daddy? I looked at him, I said, Kyle, I'll buy it. So I went back in the store. I went back in the store and I bought him the Beanie Baby. I bring him out to the car and I sit next to him in the car, and I am like in awe. It's the best closing exhibition I've ever seen. It happened to be on me, but the good news is I learned something. So I sat him down in the car and I looked at him and I said, Kyle, I want you to always, always remember this. Always remember what just took place, because if you continue to want something so bad in your life, and you try different things to get a different result, all these different closes, you will be so successful. But Kyle, don't try it on Dad anymore. I teach this stuff. I know what you're up to.